Hey everyone, how's it going? In this video, we're going to be talking about statements and negations of statements. So, let me just go ahead and share my screen here, and then we'll get started. First off, to talk about statements. So, last time we talked about um, using arguments to build this proof so that we 100% knew it's true. And the way we're going to build these arguments is with statements. And we're going to want to use true statements to build this argument. So we better decide what statements are true and false and be able to determine that. So first off, a statement is something that is either true or false. It can't be both and it can't be neither. Okay, so we're going to determine which ones of the following things below is actually a statement and then determine its truth value. Okay, so let's try this. We'll start off relatively easy. So 12 is a prime number, right? This is false. It is a statement though. It's just false. This is because 3 times 4 equals 12, right? So it has another factor that's not just one in itself. Okay. This person, Stephen Harkey, is a professor, or he is 5,000 years old. So this or here, this is the inclusive or. So if I say, my name is Nick, or I'm 5,000 years old, that's a true statement because the or can mean either of those things, or it could mean both of them. Okay, so this is actually a true statement. Stephen Harkey is a professor. You can just look him up. So that's the difference between inclusive and exclusive or. So like if I was going to the movies and I said, hey, do you want to see Star Wars or Mission Impossible? It's kind of implied that you can't see both, but in math, we always use the inclusive or. So that means it's one or the other or both. Okay. Go wash my car. That's actually not a statement, right? There is no truth value to that. There's no truth value to go wash my car. That's a command. Okay, this is a command. Okay. Let's cross off this 3,000 here and put 160. There are 2 seniors registered. Okay, this is actually a true statement. This is a true statement. And in fact, there are more than 2. Okay, so there are more than 2 seniors. But it doesn't matter because when I say there are 3 of something, I mean there are at least 3 of something. Okay, not exactly 3 of something or only 3 of something. I mean at least. If we want to say exactly or only, we have to explicitly state this. Okay. She has seen all the Star Wars movies. This is also not a statement. And you may go, well, hold on, like depending who you're talking about, this could be a statement. Sure, and that would be true, but then you would have to use that specific person. The word she is the variable and can refer to anyone who identifies as a she, right? So the person in question could have seen them. They could not have seen them. We just don't have enough information. So we actually call this an open sentence. Okay. This statement is false is also not a statement. And let's see why. So let's pretend this statement was true. Okay. If the statement was true, but then this says this sentence is false, well, then you're true and false, and we can't do that. So if we say this statement is false, well, then it must be true. And that also can't happen. So this is what we call a paradox. Okay, this is something. It's like a reasonable sounding statement, but it's not a statement. It's just something that can neither be true or false. Okay. This next one is, believe it or not, also not a statement. Right? We don't know what X is. So we can't do anything with it. This is just another open sentence. Okay. So I'll do those first 7. Okay. And then I want you to try and do 8, 9, and 10. Or sorry, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. And then go and look at the annotated notes just to make sure you're kind of following along there. Okay, so now that we've talked about statements a little bit, right? We want to talk about this thing called the negation of a statement. Okay, the negation symbol is this. Okay, it's this little tilde here. You may also see something that looks like this. That could also be negation. So just keep that in mind, depending what book you use. The negation is changing the truth value. So that's what it is. So if I have a statement that's true and then I negate it, then I get a false statement. If I have a statement that's false and then I negate it, I get a true statement. Okay, so let's look at this example right here. So this example right here says, the statement is, I came to class today, which is a true statement because you're watching this video. Okay, the negation of that statement is, I did not come to class today. Okay, so that would make it false, right? Because you're watching the video. So generally, we just put the word not in front of the verb. Okay, however, negating something is not just the opposite of the statement. So, for example, let's do an example over here. I could say the Raiders won last Sunday. Okay, that's my statement. So I'm going to call this P. Okay, not P. Okay, not P is not that the Raiders lost last Sunday. Okay, it's that they did not win, because there's another option. They could have also tied, or they could not have played a game, right? So opposite is not the right way to think about this. The way you're going to want to think about it is putting that not in there, because it doesn't always capture all of the ways that the original statement could be false. So not P is that the Raiders did not win last Sunday. Okay, let's try a couple of these. Okay, so it rained in the morning. Okay, that would be, it did not rain in the morning. Okay, let's we will have an exam in this class. The negation is, we will not have an exam in this class. So let's jump to 4, if you're following with me. Okay, there are at most 20 people in this class. Okay, the negation of that, right? So you could say there are not at most 20 people in this class, but that doesn't quite work with the English language. So the negation of this is that there are more than 20 people in this class, right? So let's think about it. Let's pretend I have a class. Let's just think about it as inequalities. Inequalities. So there, I have some class here, C, and I know the class is less than or equal to 20. This is what P is. This is our original statement. There's at most 20 people, or C is at most 20. So the negation of this less than or equal to, so not P, right, is we flip the sign and then we drop that or equal to. Okay. So what we want to practice on, and if you watched last week's videos, that's kind of what we did. We practiced on turning these words back into math symbols that we kind of understand, and now we're going to negate them and we want to put them back into words. That's really what we want to do here. Okay. All right. You can keep going, right? So let's try this one right here. We already talked about 5. Let's try 7. Okay. Everyone in Colorado has skied. Okay. The negation of that is not everyone in Colorado has skied. So this would be fine. Not everyone in Colorado has skied. However, a better way to phrase this, okay, but a better way to phrase this is at least one person, okay, at least one person in Colorado has not skied. Okay, so it's going to be very tempting to say no one in Colorado has skied, right? Because that's the opposite of everyone is no one. But we're not doing opposites, right? So it's either not everyone, which means at least one. Okay. All right. So try some of the other ones we left blank. Try to fill them out and then go ahead and look at the annotated notes to double check. And if you have any questions, please let me know.